Good evening, everyone. How are you? Welcome, welcome, welcome. I see Karen and Ellis are already here. So, yes, this is the new format where there will be just talk of music, but no actual playing of music. So, we'll see how this goes. And if it gets a good response, I'll keep doing it. If it's something that people aren't really into, then I'll try something else. I don't know. I do know. I want to keep doing the music. I want to keep, being in contact with everyone and sharing kind of behind the scenes of music and creating community around really good songs. So that's what I'm here for. And tonight's Bliss Break, I hope you had a chance to listen to the pre show playlist on YouTube. If not, go and take a listen after. When I sent out the email, it had just the five basic songs on it. And then I went back today and I put in the covers that I'm going to talk about as well. So let's get started with the first tune because it is summertime. They always say that Memorial Day weekend is kind of the unofficial start to summer because summer doesn't start until June 20th to the solstice. But it's the unofficial start to summer. So I figured I'd pick some tunes that remind me of summer, and then next episode I will pick some tunes from Family Reunion that remind me of the summer months and when I used to get together with my big old family in the DC area. But tonight we're going to start with a tune that's a classic, one that has a fantastic legacy and a fantastic history and all of that kind of stuff. So, Summertime. It was originally written by George Gershwin, DuBose Heyward, and Ira Gershwin is credited as well, from 1933 to 34. Now, DuBose Heyward wrote the novel Porgy that Porgy and Bess was based on, and or rather, I'm sorry, that Porgy was based on, because what happened after he wrote the novel, his wife decided to write a play. And that play was adapted and put on stage in 1927. The novel was originally published in 1925. And the play inspired George Gershwin to write what he called an American folk opera. Now, he went down to South Carolina and he studied African American folk music and the songs that were coming from the spirituals and all of that kind of stuff to influence him with what he was writing and the music that he was composing to tell this story in the opera that would become Porgy and Bess. So he did that between 1933 and 1934. And specifically, there were two songs that DuBose Heyward would go on and contribute lyrics to. Summertime was one of them. And if you look at the writing credits, Ira Gershwin was added as well. And they said that they kind of did that, not that he necessarily contributed a lot of lyrics, but he was the better known lyricist. So, and DuBose Heyward was known for poetry and writing. So they wanted to kind of, legitimize the music for the opera. So they worked on that from 1933 to 34, and some say that the melody from Summertime is very similar to a spiritual called Sometimes I Feel Like a Motherless Child. And so much so that Mahalia Jackson did a medley of Sometimes I Feel Like a Motherless Child and Summertime to show kind of the similarities between the tunes. And the song has become a standard since it was featured in Porgy and Bess in 1935. It was first performed on stage by Abby Mitchell. And then it was released in 1974. The recordings of the rehearsals that were recorded in July of 1935 were released as an album called George Gershwin Conducts Excerpts from Porgy and Bess. So it wasn't released until, almost 40 years later. But since then, it has been recorded so many times. I remember when I first started to put together the Silver Fox Song Showcases, Summertime was in the very first showcase. And doing my research, I came across a website that I don't even know still exists, but they were saying that it was considered one of the most recorded songs in history. And they had a ticker on there that would go up and tell you, we got a new recording, or we got, new evidence of a recording. And at the time, and this was 12, 15 years ago, something like that, it was at 33,000. And that was just that ticker. I didn't know that there was all this stuff kind of going on behind the scenes. And in 2017, today, 5 years ago, today, June 1st, 2017, Summertime entered the Guinness Book of World Records for the most recorded song. At the time, it had 67,591 total recordings on the books. There's a group called the Summertime Connection, and they keep track of the song. They maintain a Facebook page, and that Facebook page, as of May 1st, 2022, says that they know of at least 104 991 public performances of Summertime, 88,900 of which have been recorded. They have evidence, and they have in their collection 76,566 recordings of Summertime. So it is definitely one of the most covered songs in music history. And a little bit more about Sam Cooke's version, and one of the reasons that I really love that version. And there are a couple of other cover versions that kind of turn the song on its ear, or they do their own version. And that's Sam Cooke has a really nice version of the tune. And two other versions that I really like are Lambert, Hendricks, and Ross, which I included in the playlist. And their treatment of it is fantastic. And then there's another version. I'm trying to think of his name. I can't think of his name. By Billy Stewart. That's who it is. Billy Stewart does a really great version of the tune. It almost is unrecognizable. If you listen, you hear the lyrics and all that stuff. But with Sam Cooke, the song was released on the B side of the single You Send Me. And that one has a wonderful, it has a really wonderful kind of tie-in to music as well, because the song was produced, You Send Me, the single You Send Me and Summertime was produced by Robert Bumps Blackwell. Now he has a rich history in soul and R&B and rock and roll music, because he worked with one of his first bands was a band called Blackwell's Junior. What was it called? Bumps Blackwell's Junior Band, and it featured Ray Charles and Quincy Jones. And they played for Billie Holiday, Cab Calloway, Billy Eckstine, and then he moved to Los Angeles. He was originally in Seattle, and he moved to Los Angeles and flew to New Orleans in 1955 and wanted to record this unknown artist at the time that went by the name of Little Richard. He thought that he would become the next Nat King Cole, but when they were on break from recording, Little Richard went into a bar and started to kind of play this honky tonk type soul music, and it was called Tutti Frutti Good Booty. So it was too racy. So they changed the title, and they changed some of the lyrics, and it became Tutti Frutti All Rudy. So he had a hand in writing Good Golly Miss Molly, Long Tall Sally, and Rip It Up, and he produced You Send Me. And at the time, he was on the specialty label that was owned by Art Ruby. Art Ruby was not happy. He felt that Sam Cooke was a crossover from gospel, and if he crossed over and he did it on their label, that it would hurt his gospel sales. So he fired Bumps. He sure did. He fired Bumps Blackwell. And Bumps Blackwell believed in the music so much that he took Sam Cooke and his recording across town to Keene Records. And they released You Send Me with the B-side of Summertime. And it became the first number one hit by a solo black artist. So he believed in the music, he believed in Sam Cooke. And that is my tie-in with Summertime. Summertime and the living is easy. Okay, so yeah, so that's the first song. And I see that Carolyn is here, and so is my brother Rod stopping by making snide comments. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Thank you for the dissertation. You know you the only doctor in the family right now. That's it right now, because who knows? With my studies, I may have to get my little doctorate too. Anyway, moving right along. The next song that was on the playlist is Sitting on the Dock of the Bay with its wonderful whistle at the end. It was written by and recorded by Otis Redding. He had assistance from Steve Cropper, and they finished the song in 1967. Otis Redding began writing the song in August of 67. He was on tour and he stayed on a houseboat at the Commodore Seaplane Slips in Sausalito, California, which was along the San Francisco Bay. And he was sitting there and rocking back and forth on the water and hearing the seagulls and hearing the water splash against the side of the boat. And he started writing, sitting in the morning sun. So he went on while he was on tour and he kept working on the song. And when he got back to Stax, the Stax label and the Stax recording studios, in November, he reached out to guitarist Steve Cropper, who was a member of Booker T and the MGs. And Cropper helped him to complete the song, and he produced the song as well. So the recording featured Stax musician Booker T and the MGs along with Isaac Hayes. And Otis Redding had 2 recording sessions of the song. He laid down the bass of the track, and then he went back and he was doing some overdubs. And the last session was on December 7th, 1967. They said that he didn't think that it was finished, and he wanted to reach out to the Staple Singers to do some background vocals. But on December 10th, 1967, he was back out on the road and died in a plane crash. So he never really finished the song, but Steve Cropper went ahead and mixed the song after his death. And he adhered to his request for the sounds of seagulls and waves crashing and all of that stuff to be added to the tune. So he honored him. And the release became the first single released posthumously to reach number 1 on the United States charts. It also reached number 3 in the UK charts. And although the Staple Singers didn't sing background vocals, they would also do a cover version of the tune that was released later in December 1968. Otis Redding's original recording was released in January of 1968, just less than a month after he passed away. Now, there's another version that I really like, and it's Sergio Mendes. I really love to hear when somebody kind of takes the song and makes it their own, because that's what I try to do. You want the song to sound a little bit recognizable, but I enjoy taking the songs and making them my own. And Sergio Mendes always I love the way he puts that Brazilian spin on things. So if you listen to the playlist, Sergio Mendes, Brazil 66 is the group. They have a version of Sitting on the Dock of the Bay. So next tune is Hot Fun in the Summertime. Hot Fun in the Summertime. It's written by Sly Stone. And It was originally recorded and released by Sly and the Family Stone in July of 1969. And the song was a showcase for the entire band because all seven members of the band got to sing on the chorus. So if you listen to each different line, they're all singing on there. And the song was released a couple of weeks before they performed at Woodstock. And Woodstock allowed them to be in front of a huge audience and expand their fan base. And then they had this song that was playing on the radio. So the two went hand in hand and helped them explode as a band. And this song was released right before Sly started to have problems with drugs and all that kind of stuff that kind of brought the band down. But it was, at the height of their career as a band. And it's funny, as I was doing research for this, I found out that Phil Collins, who's the drummer for the rock band Genesis, said that the song was an inspiration for his song Misunderstanding. And the group Toto, members of the group Toto, said that the song was inspiration for their song Hold the Line. Now, both of those are groups that I love because I have a really, really eclectic taste in music. So it was interesting to kind of see that Hot Fun in the Summertime was inspiration for rock songs, later rock songs. So, number 4. And tonight I did 6 tunes because I couldn't decide on the 5th one. Like, I just kept trying to toss between the two, and I was like, you know what? I'm not singing anything, so I'm gonna go ahead and add number 6. So, Saturday in the Park is one of those tunes that makes me want to skip. It is. I have my list of skipping tunes. I should probably put them all in a playlist so that I can skip and work out a little bit, right? But Saturday in the Park is always one of those that really kind of hits home for me. I remember when I came to New York in 1990, August of 1990, and I lived at NYU because that's where I was going to school, and my dorm was a couple of blocks from Washington Square Park. And I used to go there, and that song, for some reason, I felt the energy of that when I went to Washington Square Park. Saturday in the Park, all that stuff would be happening. There'd be somebody selling ice cream, people running around, all types of stuff, and I was like, wow, I felt like, I was living in a song when I came to New York. And so Saturday in the Park was written by Robert Lamm, who is the keyboard player and singer for Chicago. It was released as a single in July of 1972, and the B-side was Alma Mater, and then it was later featured on, well, actually, it was released first on the album, and then the single came a couple of days after the album was released. The album is Chicago 5. If anybody knows the group Chicago, they had a bunch of albums where they just numbered them. They didn't worry about names and all that kind of stuff. Chicago 1, Chicago 2, Chicago 3, so this was Chicago 5. And Robert Lamm, who wrote the song, said that he was reviewing some footage from a film that he shot in Central Park in New York City over a couple of years in the early 70s. And he said he was looking at the footage and he just started writing down ideas for the song and eventually wrote the song from the feelings that he got from all of the scenes there. And he created like a narrative for the film. And that turned into Saturday in the Park. It would reach number 3 on the Billboard chart, and it would become Chicago's highest charted single at the time. And they would go on to have a couple of number ones, but this one in 1972 was their highest charted single. So, on to number 5. Number 5 is Summer Breeze. And it is, to me, one of those songs that is so visual and gives you such a picture of a couple and them kind of living in a beach town. This is what I picture. Them living in a beach town and being able to open up the windows and he comes home from work, or and she's made dinner and all that kind of stuff, and they're having a really good time. And it's such a one of those songs you can close your eyes and walk through it, if you will. Jim Seals and Dash Crofts, they were a duo, a soft rock duo called Seals and Crofts, and they had some fantastic songs. Oh my gosh. Their list of tunes is wonderful. I love their music. I love their harmonies and the complexities of their music, because they also have a lot of tempo changes and stuff in some of their other songs. And they're one of the groups that I listen to on long drives. I always make sure that they're in the mix, that their best of is in the mix for me. So Summer Breeze was released in August of 1972, and the B-side was called East of Ginger Trees. So they always had, they some of their songs had some hippie titles. They were there's a song that they have called Hummingbird. Oh my gosh, I love that song. It has this fabulous intro. I'll have to talk about that at some other point. But yeah, so it was released in August of 72. And then in March of 1974, the Isley Brothers would, again, they would be one of those artists that took it, turned it on his ear, and made it into two parts, honey. The single was released. The A side was Summer Breeze Part 1, and the B side was Summer Breeze Part 2. Now, if you know the Isley Brothers, they love to release songs with part 1, Part 2. Their songs are generally really long, at least the singles and stuff. And so they release them in multiple parts. But it was for their album 3 Plus 3. And that album was released on their own imprint, their own label, T-Neck. That was for Teaneck, New Jersey, where they were living at the time. The Seals and Crofts recording reached number 6 on the Billboard Hot 100, and Rolling Stone has a song list called the best summer songs of all time that they released in 2013, and Summer Breeze by Seals and Crofts was ranked number 13. The Isley Brothers cover reached number 10 on the Billboard Hot Soul Singles chart. So it became a hit for both of them. All right. So I am going to talk about the last song for this evening. And again, please, please, please go and listen to the playlist of tunes. And you'll hear these versions as well as the cover versions that I'm talking about. And I hope you enjoy them. I am working on recordings of these tunes, but it's taking a little bit of time. And please let me know if you enjoy this format of me just talking about the songs and delivering a playlist to you. Again, I am doing my thing to stand in integrity with regards to video and music in terms of copyright. I know that a lot of people say everybody does it. Why don't you just continue to do it? I want to honor those that came before me. That's one of the reasons why I do cover music, is to honor those that came before me, and I want to do that with integrity. So, I'll find my people who like me talking about the tunes, who likes me going behind the music, because I do that anyway. And I enjoy it. I really do, and I enjoy being able to share that with you, my little geeky side. So, Ellis and Karen said, thank you for compiling the playlist. I have to be transparent. I am nervous about doing this whole thing with me just talking. It's very strange for me. I love singing, as you all know. I love singing. But I also love going behind the tunes. I really do like doing the research, and I do a lot of research. I'm very studious when it comes to pop music and the songs that I sing, because I want to tell the stories and I want to share all of the fun stuff about how these songs get made, because I think there's great music out there. So I'm going to talk about a song that actually defined a subgenre of music. The song is Sailing by Christopher Cross. He wrote it in 1979. It was released on his album, self entitled album, Christopher Cross, that was released in December of 1979. And then this song, Sailing, was released as a single with the B-side song called Poor Shirley. And that was released on June 15th in 1980. And Christopher Cross said that the inspiration for this song came from sailing trips that a friend in high school who was older than him, that was like a surrogate older brother for him. And the trips helped him to get away from the trials and tribulations. He had a troubling teenage years. So this kind of helped him get away from all of that, going sailing. And that was the inspiration for the song. And I read that they lost touch after high school, him and the friend. And I think it was Howard Stern or somebody like that found the friend and brought them back together. And Christopher Cross gave him the platinum recording of the song. So touching how these stories kind of happen. So the song was released on the album, and then once it was released as a single in June of the following year, it spent 1 week at number one in the Billboard Hot 100, and that was the week of August 30th, 1980. But even though it only spent 1 week at number one, it was still a hugely successful song. So much so that it won the Grammy Award for Record of the Year, Song of the Year, Arrangement of the Year, and it helped Christopher Cross win the Brand New Artist of the Year award. So this song also, again, like I said, it helped to define a sub-genre, can you say that? Sub-genre, known as not yacht rock. And yacht rock was kind of coined later after the 70s and the 80s, but it was one of the most commercially successful genres from the mid 70s to the mid 80s. And at the time, it was called West Coast Sound or adult oriented rock. So, why can't I speak? Adult oriented rock. And I think it kind of, moved into adult contemporary, which is called AC now for short. But yes, Sailing is one of those songs that completely defined that sound. It was laid back, smoothed out. It was produced. It had a very soulful treatment of rock music to it. And Christopher Cross dominated that genre, that subgenre of music. So, again, thank you so much for spending this short little time with me going over these tunes. I really, really appreciate you coming out tonight. And hopefully this new format will be something that you're interested in. So enjoy the summer, enjoy the warm weather, and I will see you in 2 weeks to talk about some more tunes. I'm going to pick out some stuff that, again, reminds me of family reunion, because June is also African American Music History Month. And there are a couple of tunes by like Frankie Beverly and the Mays, and there's just a couple of tunes that you play at your family reunion when you're out in the park. All right, everybody, thank you again. I'll be in the chat for a little while longer, and I look forward to seeing you soon. All right.
Out of the clouds of confusion, beyond the mist that seemed to block my way, I found a peace, a joy, a better, a bliss that brightens every day. Ooh, yeah, yeah. I don't know what you down. Believe that you're only a thought away from your own bliss. I've been there before. I tell you, my humble advice, you should remember this. Ooh, yeah, yeah. I don't know what else I could say. I'm at a loss for words. Just wanted to shout my joy